Good afternoon, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching. As always, it is appreciated. There's a lot of people that are up in arms about a certain act that were on at Glastonbury yesterday. I think their band is Bob Villain. They're so creative they can't even come up with their own name. Anyway, they have been getting a lot of media attention, and primarily the media attention has been on death chants to the IDF, the Israeli Defence Force. That's what most of the outrage is over, the fact that Glastonbury and the BBC gave them a platform. You can look at that either way. There's two sides to the conflict. Generally speaking, I know what side I'm on, but mostly with the Middle Eastern conflict, I think it's none of my business. We've got so many problems in the UK. There's so many things going wrong in our country. I'd rather focus on, actual issues here. I've said it before. The only West Bank I care about is the West Bank over in Widnes, alright? Not the one over in the Middle East. It's just really not my concern. But there's a lot of people in the media that are jumping on that particular bandwagon and condemning Glastonbury, the BBC, which we're all forced to pay for amplifying and promoting hate speech against a minority, in this case, the Jews and Israel. Okay, that's a fair point, I guess. He said more egregious things and more things that I'm more bothered about, which is the demographic change in the UK and basically openly mocking the white man and woman who feel the demographic change in the United Kingdom, feel their country slipping away from them, and feel that they've got no say or control over things that they've never consented to. That's what I'm bothered about, and that's what my concern is. Of course, you get certain politicians like Kemi Badenoch that fail to read the room, and they don't see it that way. They want to amplify the outrage against the slight against Israel. And then you get other politicians like Farage, and they're saying other things like, if you vote Reform, you can get your country back from these lunatics. This is probably the best piece of marketing that Reform UK could have asked for, or any politician on the right. Whether that's the Heritage Party, whether that's Reclaim, whether that's UKIP. This is the best piece of marketing that you could get. It's free, and you didn't pay a penny. Amplify it. Say it loud. Say it clear. Refugees not welcome here. It's as simple as that. We've got demographic change in the country. We've got below replacement rate population, and that needs to be reversed. And Farage has backed the right horse here, and you need to give him props for that. He's read the room correct, and he's taken the line that many people on the right want him to take. And then you get people like Kemi Badenoch, and here we go. Where's the Kemi one? Here's the Kemi one. Less than 2 years ago, blah-de-blah, outrage of the massacre in Israel over 2 years ago, or just under 2 years ago. Again, there's no problem with that. She can put out that tweet, and many people will agree. However, the more egregious of the two things that happened yesterday at Glastonbury is the one against the native population, in my opinion. Now, there's a lot of people at Glastonbury, and Glastonbury is very good to see the biggest lefty tossers all in one place. They're all in one place, and it makes them very, very easy to identify. One thing that all of this has shown is Glastonbury isn't about love, it's not about peace, it's not about coming together. It's about hate. It's about making sure that people know how radical you are, or think the radical. They're actually propping up the establishment at this point. But the BBC putting it out is the biggest thing as well. The BBC is full square behind this. There is a delay at Glastonbury, and they could have pulled the plug on this, and they chose not to. They chose to amplify it into every single household in the country, and they chose to pull a tiny, tiny disclaimer about maybe or possibly offensive material. Not really acceptable. Defund the BBC. Make sure everybody in the country knows what the establishment and the lefty liberals think of you, and just let them cry into their pillows, because they're going to be getting something they really didn't expect. A lot of people think Farage is the worst of the worst, which is why the mainstream media love to paint him as the big, bad racist. He's pretty milquetoast. Be scared what's coming after Farage. Be afraid. Be very afraid. That's people on the left, anyone in the mainstream media. Be afraid of what's coming after Farage. Farage is merely the opening salvo. Be very, very afraid. There's a very, very articulate, well-funded troupe of up-and-comers in their 20s and early 30s, and they're the future of the country, and they are going to take it back. I like that mentality. Don't be defeatist, be positive. We are going to win this in the end, it's inevitable at this point. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.